All right, Vision Pros, I'm doing something different today. I got Rich Potter in the house. This man has the it factor. Now, I've never met Rich. We have not talked, but between what I saw in his form, I was like, man, this guy's got a vision. And between what I saw on his website, too, your dream of business ownership becomes a reality here with him. The quality is just there, the essence is just there. So let me read to you what he submitted before I bring him on stage and put him on the spot. He says, my vision is to help high performing professionals stop chasing income and start building ownership. Too many people are successful on paper, but stuck in reality. They have strong resumes, they have stable paychecks, they've got growing responsibilities, but no real control. They want financial independence, flexibility, and impact, yet they're caught between risky side hustles, fear of losing stability, and the beliefs that they don't have enough capital or experience to start. This man writes like Michael Gerber of the E-Myth, my friends. I believe there is a smarter middle ground. Through franchise consulting and business ownership education, my vision is to normalize structured entrepreneurship, not hype, not speculation, not gambling on trends. Oh my gosh, does that happen all over the business world with small investments and people thinking they're not chasing the latest shiny object, yet they are. They think they're not get rich quickers. But what do we see? Obtain wealth fast. Well, it means the same thing. Please stop doing it, my friends. But evaluating proven models, leveraging systems, building businesses intentionally. This is impactful for your audience because many of them are capable of more than their current environment allows. They don't need motivation. They need clarity. They need frameworks to overcome doubt, realistic paths to ownership, and examples of people who've built wealth without blowing up their lives in the process. Rich's mission is to help people move from frustrated employee to confident owner, replacing fear with informed decisions, replacing excuses with action, and replacing burnout with businesses designed to support their life, not consume it. Man, the bromance is strong. Rich has it down. Welcome to Vision Pros Live, man.
Hey Jackson, thanks, man. That was quite the intro. I love it. Thanks for having
Dude,
me.
franchise heroes. No, absolutely. I mean, again, you write, that's like a love novel to anybody who's ever tried entrepreneurship for more than 3 to 5 years and is like, I am so sick of all the time wasting, of all the debt chasing, of all the challenges that come with it. And you're going to be empowering people who are jumping in the game right out of a stable reality. Like I wish all entrepreneurs would do that. So anyway, I'm in love with your message. Well done. How the heck did you figure all that out, man?
Man, a lot of trial and error, right? Like it's taken some time. I mean, I spent a good amount of time in corporate and, slowly built up a couple of
Mhm.
businesses that allowed me to eventually exit. And, over time I've just kind of figured out a little bit here, a little bit there with some mentors and with some help. And now my mission is to kind of give back through my consulting and helping people realize the dream of business ownership. So it's
Absolutely. And give back as a capitalist, to be clear, right?
yeah, absolutely, yep, for
Okay,
real.
because we can do good and we can make money. And I see that that's what this is about, and I'm okay. I just want to make sure that I didn't accidentally miss the nonprofit aspect of it.
No, 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 for sure. There's definitely profit there. Nope. I,
Good.
I I just love helping people. Business ownership has really provided me a different level of freedom than I ever had working a 9 to 5. It allows me to be there for my family. It provides time freedom as well as financial freedom. And it's
That
just
doesn't. Where are you based?
so I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. This is the main website you're going through here, the Quantum Franchise Group of the brokerage that I belong to. And I've kind of branded my own little thing through Franchise Heroes.
Sweet.
So yeah,
Well,
I'm in.
you've got the shoulders of giants that you're standing on with this as well, and that's great news. And I'm sure there's some book references in there as well. But did you serve military wise?
I did not. Nope. A lot of
Okay,
family
but you're
members.
representing.
Yeah. No, I was on another podcast earlier today for a veteran,
Ah,
a veteran podcast. So I thought I'd rep.
oh,
But
cool.
yeah, no, my brother's serving right now in Seoul, Korea with the army. But
Okay.
no,
Good. Well, blessings to him and the family, and thanks for the family service.
yeah.
Appreciate that. So good. So okay. So franchises as well, and franchises. I'm a big fan of franchises. Visionaries. I don't talk a lot about it because we've got other things that we have brought up, and we don't usually have a franchise expert on the show. So it is nice to have Rich here. My parents owned a franchise called Twice the Ice. And it worked out really, really well. As part of it, they had an 18-wheeler parking lot in San Antonio that they sold successfully, and they sold a twice the ice machine with it. But it brought in a pretty stable $4,000 to $6,000 per month. And it's just buying a business out of a box. You had the procedures, you had the resources, you had the templates, you had the market research, you had the ideas of what to do, you had support that you could call, and they had some ideas for advertising. They weren't the greatest opportunities, but I mean, when you have a product like bags of ice that are kind of, I don't say they're essential in America. They're an essential need in American households. So it
They're
was pretty
essential
easy to
here
get
in
that.
Arizona, man. In Phoenix,
Yeah,
Arizona.
exactly. Yeah, there you go. Again, we were in Texas, and so that was huge. But we ran some Facebook ads that really bolstered the initial launch campaigns. They never really needed anything beyond that. Just like, nope, market awareness, everything's good to go. Quality assurance has all been done for years. There's so many advantages to going the franchise route. So, Rich, feel free, plug some gaps for me. What else did I miss
Yeah,
about that?
I love it. Yeah, you're doing great. I love it. So the biggest thing I love about franchising is it's already been tested and tried and it works. Right. So a lot of times when we do a startup, we're testing out a new idea or a new concept or a new twist on how to do something. But if we go through the franchise route, you already have an established, very successful location that's already gone through the trial and error, already tested the market, and has launched a very successful business. And typically they've been in business for 5, 10 years or a lot longer in a lot of cases. And they've built an incredible organization. And then they've systematized it through standard operating procedures. They've hired support staff, and now they're just handing you the keys to the kingdom, right? And all you need to do is just follow the game plan. And if you follow the game plan, and if you're well capitalized, I mean, 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 10, you're going to be successful, right? It's when
Right.
you start trying to create outside of the box and you try to, not follow the game plan, not follow their SOPs and stuff like that, that you tend to have in trouble.
Right.
Or if you're not well capitalized, if you come in and you don't have enough money for the marketing and stuff like that, I've seen people struggle that way too. But if you follow the
Correct.
plan, follow the system, man, it works, and it works really well. Some statistics I like to throw
Sure.
out there is like
Sure.
17% of startup businesses are still around 10 years later.
No. That's not a true statistic. 96% of businesses fail within 10 years. Startups have a far worse chance of being able to win than
Okay.
just businesses in general. So I'm gonna take your theory and
What
I'm
I
gonna
saw was 17% are still around. So we're off by
the
what, like
SBA. Yeah, the SBA is the one that
19%.
has the stat that I'm referring to. You can look up on Inc. as well, but I'm pointing out what Rich is trying to warn you guys about. I am too, my friends. Like, it's scary. 96% fell within 10 years. That means I used to think when I was younger that it was a 4% success rate. No, it's a 4% survival rate. Out of those 4%, you then have to look at which ones are successful. So it's really, really a bad idea if you're low tolerance with risk to go the startup route. I do it all the time. I love Russell Brunson's quote, like, you don't want to be the pioneer that's trailblazing, that has the arrows in your back. Like, just follow those guys and model what they do. I was the crazy one who heard him say that and was like, I do. Like, they don't do that. So we're going to come back. We're going to talk to Rich a little bit deeper. I want to hear more about these stats, Rich, but I want to give one piece of advice and I'll come back and clarify it after. I would never play poker against Rich. Just so you guys know, he's far more pragmatic. There's other people you can win against, but not this guy. All right. Welcome in to Vision Pros Live with Jackson Callum. I'm your show host. We will be doing interviews for visionary entrepreneurs and guest leaders who are building fantastic visions out there. All right, guys. So I got Rich here, and we're talking about this concept of, like being intentional and planning and being strategic as you launch brands. I can't emphasize this enough. There's just far too much hype online, and it's so easy to fall victim of accidentally falling into this business world thinking that entrepreneurship is easy, and it's so far from the truth. It's not easy. It's hard, and I've been involved in startup ventures, and fortunately have had a lot of success along the way with that. But you have to have your battle scars in order to get through that. There are so many goods, bads, and uglies about launching visions. And Rich has, as a franchise guy, he's probably studied several franchises and different types of franchise models. And I like to pick on the Subway one. So I also want to honor all of those who are a little bit more crazy like me and want to launch startups. When it comes to launching startups, don't worry about the statistics either, my friends. Really, don't worry about it. I'm raised by a single mom of 6, so every statistic that ever told me about life said I was never supposed to be successful, and so I had to learn not to be a number. I had to learn that I can control the various variables in my life, and I can dedicate myself in other ways in order to carve out my own success. The same is true for businesses. Don't follow the path of the 96%. Go find the anomalies and find out what the heck did you do to get the results that it is that you have. And so I'm gonna go to franchises like Subway for just a second, Rich. For instance, I think Subway is a great business model. I think it's a really crappy sandwich shop, though. I used to like it. And I don't know why. But one of the crappiest and greatest scaled companies of all time as far as their franchise goes. Last I checked, you have to pay $75,000 up front in order to buy that franchise. And as Rich talked about, it's a really good idea to have another budget for marketing and beyond. And the AI a couple of years ago recommended me have like $100,000 ready to go to help bolster that. And then within a 7 to 8 year period, you would have carved out a 6-figure process for yourself, a 6-figure gain. It would be a low 6-figure, you're not going over 125,000 per year, said, but you would still have that stability. You would have that structure that helps you build. And so I don't want to minimize the value of that reality. In fact, I want to maximize. That's a really good thing. I did have somebody on my show a few months ago, though, that talked about the golden bird cage and feeling trapped in that. And I think sometimes that's what also happens when people just decide to launch a franchise that's out of alignment with their passion, with their purpose. And so now you've got a better lifestyle, but you still don't end up unlocking the impact and the contribution you want and the significance. And there's so much to it. And there's probably other franchises that Rich knows about that I don't. It's like, no, this is a far more sure bet. But I will say one thing about what we do at First Class Business. For us, we're looking for our clients who are willing to pay $150,000. Marketing operations, the whole budget up front. That would be the ideal scenario because it's a lot like gardening. If I have a gardener who comes to me and says, what's the least amount of water I can give my garden? They're going to fail. Their garden is you cannot give it just the least amount. You always got to give it a little bit more. And so my point with that is when we're building scope of works for businesses, for us, we want to create profitability sustainably within 45 to 180 days, not 7 years. 45 to 180. And that's not get rich quick. That's let's work our freaking tail off. Let's pay the dues. Let's put the right systems in place. Let's understand the value of advertising rather than hide from it, as most businesses do. And let's create something that's truly scalable. So there are both sides. I want to, again, move back over to Rich Potter here, though, and say, Rich, let's unlock some franchise secrets, man. What else do you know? What can you share with us?
Yeah, I love your example of Subway. It's one that I think is past its time, though. Right, like if you would have got in maybe 10 years ago, it was a good opportunity to make.
10 years ago, we were still eating fresh at Subway. I don't know what the heck happened to that.
Exactly. Yes, the $5 Subway, the $5 footlong.
Yes, I know. I killed it. I was like, nope, I'm not paying $6 for that thing. No.
Yeah, but it's one like if you dive in deep now, like I think the investment's a little too high. It's the returns not quite there. You can get a lot better franchises, and when you look through the franchise disclosure document, you can see that Subway reserves the right to open one like right across the street from you, right? So like there's some red flags in there now where before when they were growing and they were hyper growth mode, like it was a huge opportunity, and if you would have gotten in earlier, it's great. Today, I would highly recommend against it. And I even recommend against like stuff like McDonald's right now too. I mean, $2 million to buy a McDonald's in the average location is netting under $100,000, right? It's a huge investment for very little return, and you're going to be married to the thing, right? Like you're going to be in there 80 hours a week. And if you're not a franchisee right now, anyways, it's like a 5 to 10 year wait. They currently just want existing franchisees. So it's a more about like following a vision versus like following a brand, right? So like we really, my part of the process, before we ever even start talking brands, we figure out like who you are at your core, your strengths, your personality type. What type of person are you going to be when it comes to business ownership? Are you an achiever that really cares about numbers and profitability, and that's kind of where your alignment is? Or are you a societal that needs a business that makes impact on the world, right? Knowing those
Yeah.
things is vastly gonna change the franchises that we look at together. You know, are you
Huge.
an emulator where ego plays a role into like what you do? Like, do you need a franchise that you're going to be proud of, to
Right.
tell your friends about? If so, like, I can't show you the poop scooping business. Like, even though net
Right.
margins are 50% plus, you're not going to be proud of something like that, right?
Right.
So a huge part of finding the right franchise is really figuring out your vision, figuring out the lifestyle you want to create before you ever chase brands. Don't go
Love it.
after the crumble of today where like, Crumble's one of the was not anymore. Last 2 years was like one of the fastest growing franchises out there, but it
Mhm.
didn't align with a lot of people. Some
Mm.
people don't want that brick and mortar. They don't want that retail front. So it's really
Dude,
for me
that's awesome.
about alignment first before brand. You
I
know,
love that. Well, it's hard for me. I mean, I've been in business for 15 plus years, longer than that. But the franchise guys I've found, I can only name three in that long. And don't get me wrong, if I looked up on AI or on Google, like, hey, where are the franchise people? Like, I could
sure.
have found it. But the people who are out there doing the work to understand what franchise opportunities there are, how the agreements work, how you get in it, how do you get out of it, how do you transition? And like you talked about some things I haven't heard franchise people talk about before, which is purpose and passion and the fulfillment aspect. And so I love that you look at the lifestyle first, because it's not. I don't think it's. I think a lot of people in America are tired of the golden handcuffs.
Mhm.
It's like, why swap one set of golden handcuffs for another? Let's find something that truly brings impact to your life. So I would personally love to bring you back, Rich, for a 40 to 60-minute session where we dive even deeper and we look at perhaps even the quiz that you have and really open people's eyes to what's possible with those visionaries. We're not talking about abandoning our visions. We're talking about making sure that we do the right things to fund and move our visions forward purposefully and recognize that every chapter along the way can help us with the process of moving forward. I'll use a random example on this. Eric Spoelstra. He's a coach of the Miami Heat, and this guy started studying film in the back rooms of the Miami Heat. He was probably a decent basketball player in his day, whether he played in middle school or high school, I don't know. But he became one of the best coaches of all time, and it took him decades of paying dues and putting in the work to get to where he got to that level, and he got to the absolute maximum level and got to coach LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and their championship level basketball team under Pat Riley,
Yeah.
like the legendary mentors. So these opportunities, they might be springboards, and heck, you might become a franchise guru just like Rich. You never know. You meet people along your way, things happen. So definitely go look up what Rich is doing, and you can find him on LinkedIn. You can find him on Google and AI, and go to franchiseheroes.co as well to learn more about his story. But Rich, will you come back on the show with me?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay, fantastic, guys. Well, we'll see you guys in the next episode, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a vision pro yourself.